Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I just wanted to drop a little bit of something, okay? And I hope this helps you. We're talking about being cut. hmm Yes, being cut. Everybody wants to go higher, to be the best you, to do this and to do that. And some may say, well, I I envy you because you got all of this and all of that, you know. And I'm like, you do not need to envy me at all. You don't need to worry about how and all because do you want to be cut? See, people may want these things that you have, but they don't understand what you went through to get to where you got to go. Do you want to go down this road? I had to tell somebody that. And they said, well, how did you get to where you are today? I said, by being cut. They said, huh? I said, yes. I had to go through some things. I was in the valley. I was in the mud. I was in the muck, in the mire. And then some things I put my own self through. hmm Yeah, see, we don't want to admit that, A lot of times we don't want to admit the things that we did, and versus people doing stuff to us. But, for every action, there's a reaction. Talk about being cut, and I'm so glad for being cut. Now it hurt. My God, it hurt. But, and however, that pruning was necessary. It was necessary for me to grow, being cut. And I had to come from one bowl to a bigger bowl because I was busting out the seams. So I had to be willing to be cut, because I was all over the place, and I had to get my mind right. When it says, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. Yes, I definitely had to get my mind right. I had to understand, what was going on, So, and by me, um, being cut, I got to see the different fruits that I needed to see, because I was being cut. Your pruning season is necessary, for where God needs to take you and where you are now. Sometimes you outgrown the different places that you are, but a lot of times we want to stay there because it's familiar. Like me, I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, God, wait a minute, hold up though. Wait, can we do a little bit of compromising? Can we do a little, because I was comfortable. I was comfortable in where I was. I was comfortable in where I was at, and it familiarity, However, God showed me different things. And I was like, oh, I like that. He showed me a glimpse. But he was like, but you want to stay here though. You want to stay in this area. And so you need to move. And I was like, Lord, but can I bring a little bit of this over here? You can't bring that. I need to show you different things so that you can grow and move and do the things that I called you to do. So that obedience. Yeah. Yes. I was like, Lord. And then I was like, wondering why different things wasn't going my way. That's because I was staying stuck in that familiar place. And I was like, oh, I'm cool over here. It's all right over here. But then I was like, well, dang, and I was feeling so kind of like, not good. I was like, what is going on? And that's because the Lord was like, you ain't trying to move. And I was like, okay, Lord, say less. I don't need no more. No. Nope. As my nephew say, nope. I was like, no. And I was like, okay, God, can you be bargaining with him, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to get cut, I didn't want to go through what I needed to go through. I was like, Lord, that hurt. I was like, Jesus. But then I appreciate where I'm at now. I appreciate the growth. I appreciate my prayer life, and I was talking about weight, and sometimes you got to be comfortable in where you at. You got to be comfortable in who you are, and I was like, I'm good, and I had to let go of the weights, in my waiting season. In my book She Motions, I talk about weight versus weight, and I talk about how, yes, you have the weights in the gym and all of that stuff, but then you also have the weights of the burdens and that you need to let go and drop and stuff. But before, people always say, let go. No. How are you going to let go of something that you have never dealt with? That's why I keep coming back up. You have to deal with these issues, because them issues it's you. When you break it down, it's you. I was like, you, because sometimes it's me. So I had to be cut, and I had to break up the old soil, to get to the new soil. So I'm dropping seeds, and once you break up that ground, that seed will fall. And then you be watering it,